Sales skills are success skills in business and in life. There are 9 skills that I've isolated that we're going to go through. 76% of Gen Z born between 1990 and 2010 report phone anxiety. 76% report phone anxiety if they have to make an outgoing phone call. So the future needs to be altered. We can't get this behind the screen thing if you want to be successful. Here's my hack. You want the nuggets? You want the gold? You want the keys to the kingdom? Here it is.
Before we begin the podcast, I have a super simple ask for you. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would help us reach more business owners every single day. Thank you. Let's begin. Ron, you're the president of American Investment Properties, and you have a concept and book called Power Broker. Power Broker. Explain that to me.
Absolutely, Andrew. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming.
I admire you to no end, Andrew. You have no idea. Being 20 years old and being an entrepreneur like yourself and wanting to learn, I really admire that. Yes, I am a 60-year-old commercial real estate broker who's made a career as a real estate advisor, but in sales. And a lot of the other successful real estate brokers were writing books about commercial real estate. And while they're amazing, I wanted to write a book about life skills, sales skills, and how to be successful in both business and in life. Because if you're dealing with people, you need this manual. Power Broker, How to Be Successful in Business and Life, is for any person that needs to deal with other people, either in business or in life. Last I checked, there's population count of about 8 billion people on the planet. So if you're dealing with other people, let's talk about those skills. That's what Power Broker is about.
What are the most important skills that you mentioned in the book?
Sure. Okay. Well, like I said, I'm 60. You just mentioned that you're 20. I have 2 sons. I do. I have 2 sons. One is 10 and one is 12. When I wrote this book for Drew and for Chase. I wanted to illuminate everything, for them. I believe sales skills are success skills in business and in life. There are 9 skills that I've isolated that we're going to go through. But I think the most important thing is I want to just start with the concept that 85% of all successful entrepreneurs and business owners in America today started their careers in sales. So the sales skills help them be successful. 70% of all self-made billionaires started in sales. And according to Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, 85% of your financial success is due to your ability to connect, influence, and lead other people. Connect, influence, and lead other people. And only 15% is due to your knowledge of, in my particular field, commercial real estate. So let's focus on the meat. Let's focus on the big picture, the 85%. Because if you can be successful in sales, you can be successful, I believe, at anything, like those billionaires and those self-made successful entrepreneurs and business people.
Real estate agents, are you struggling to capture leads? If you're struggling to capture leads through your website, we can help. We've created a step-by-step guide on how to use our lead capture engine. It's the system we've used on all of our real estate websites to capture sellers, including Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months by working with us. Are you ready to set up your lead capture engine? Visit dmrmedia.org/#gift to learn more about how we can get warm leads like a pro. I 100% agree. I think sales is really, really important. Like, you can definitely notice almost instantly as soon as you get better at sales, because you're able to portray more value that you're giving as well. Like, if you're good, if you have 100% at one skill, but you're only able to sell 50% of it, you're only worth 50% of that skill.
Unfortunately, I think that's right. I tend to agree with you, Andrew. But now there are 4,000 you just mentioned to me in school in transition. There are 4,000 American colleges and universities. 85% of your financial success comes from your ability to connect, influence, and lead others. So how many classes? Obviously, all the classes in America are on sales because that's what you need. No, there are 90 colleges with one class in selling. It's simply not being taught. So the average 22-year-old person gets out of college, they take their first sales job, and they're thrown into it. They didn't learn anything in college. The bottom line is this. This is a self-help world. You're a 20-year-old young man. Now you are thirsty for knowledge. I want to help you turn that thirst for knowledge into sales skills and better those skills. Because 1 out of 8 people, I believe, identify as being in sales. The other 7 people, they just don't know they're in sales, but we're all in sales, including your doctor and your lawyer and your accountant. So let's talk about sales skills. Let's get better at it.
On the sales topic, within sales, what would you say is the first thing someone should learn?
Okay. Listen, first, I want to talk about, leadership skills, public speaking, negotiation, active listening, relationship building, critical thinking, resilience, and teamwork. Okay. I've outlined 9. In my book, I've outlined 9 things. Now, when I went to American University, I took one class, changed my life. I took public speaking. And I didn't take public speaking because I wanted to. I took it because I'm severely dyslexic. I didn't know it then. And it was a class that didn't require reading. It was a survival skill for me. It was a survival skill. Now, interestingly enough, I went to American University. I was in ZBT fraternity. And after I graduated, one of the newer brothers, Jesse Itzler, I recently saw him interviewed, and he said that he took this class that changed his life, and that was called public speaking. So I'm quite certain he took the same class that I took. This was an older woman. She said that she had trained at American University in Washington, D.C., some of the greatest influencers and politicians in Washington, D.C., including John F. Kennedy, to speak. Now, I'm saying public speaking is a critical skill. Anybody out there is watching that right now is saying, hey, listen, it's a bit scary. We've all heard the statistics. People would rather die than okay, it's a fear. Andrew, I just want to get everybody over that fear right now. It's called glossophobia. It's not real. Basically, inbred, we used to live in communities. People are scared of speaking out publicly because they thought they would say something dumb. And if they said something dumb, they'd be isolated, they'd be ridiculed, and they'd be, thrown out of the group. No one is being thrown out of any groups or any communities. No one's going to say anything dumb. If you do say something dumb, you probably get the laugh, which is what we all want anyway. Bottom line is this: practice public speaking. If I could, one thing that I would tell anyone, get any chance you can, push yourself, practice public speaking. Once you get the opportunity, practice, and more practice. I got to tell you, this month is November of 2024. I got an opportunity to speak at Massimo Con, 400 top commercial real estate brokers, and I had an opportunity to speak. I was beyond nervous. I just kept practicing. Killed it.
Public speaking is one of those things you just kind of have to do the reps. Fundamentally.
You have to do the reps, fundamentally.
Like I took National Youth Leadership Training, which is through BSA, which is the Boy Scouts. And I ended up teaching it a few years later. And how that was is there was
Essentially, you had different programs. You were almost like a teacher, and you did public
Okay.
speaking 2 or 3 times a day.
A day,
A day.
2 or 3 times a day. That
Yep.
forces you to get out of your comfort zone fast.
Oh, yeah. And there was a big manual, 300 pages, and inside of each of them was a different lesson. You had to memorize and learn all of them before you went out to teach it for these 2 weeks.
Whoa.
I cannot tell
Whoa.
you, when I came back, public speaking was like that. Like, you just get it. And you still get nervous, but you've conditioned yourself to understand that nervousness is normal. And so you don't go out and you don't you still fumble on your words and all that stuff, but you just keep going. And that's all you need to do.
Love it. Love it. So what you're saying to anyone listening is that we're all uncomfortable when we go to public speak, especially in the beginning, and we're all nervous. And it's predetermined in our systems to have that nervousness. So the only way to get over that is to really practice. And I couldn't agree more. So if I had to pick one, again, I got 9. We can go all day.
Shoot me your next favorite one.
I think that people are going to really, I want to talk about negotiation because I think that everybody wants to be a good negotiator. I think that it should be taught in schools. I isolate these 9 things, and my system is the 4 C's of negotiations: common interest, conflicting interest, criteria, and compromise. Now, compromise, nobody likes that word. Again, I sell shopping centers and office buildings. I sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them during my career. Hundreds. Bob Knackel sold 2,400. I'm not there yet, but hundreds and hundreds. Do we have to compromise? Yeah. I don't win the negotiation. I win that huge commission check. I win the deal. I win the closing. I win the smile when I walk through the door and say, guys, sold another building. If we got to, compromise a little bit, let's talk about that, okay? 4 C's. Everybody wants to skip over the common interests. Andrew, the bottom line is, if we're in that room, that seller wants to sell. That buyer wants to buy. We're all in that room to close that deal. Don't skip that step. It's momentum. You need it. Now you take those conflicting interests, the price, the roof problems, the leaks, you deal with those head on, but you got to declare it. The way you negotiate is without emotion. And that's the industry criteria. The contract of sale reads that the building needs to be delivered leak-free. Let's talk about leak-free. Let's talk about industry standards. Let's talk about the roof. Let's talk about the age of the roof. Everybody wants to make it personal. You got to make it not personal. And the only way to make it not personal is, what does the contract say? What does the industry say? So the 4 C's of negotiation gives you a little momentum, gives you the ability to get over the tough, conflicting parts, because there are, to make it emotionless. If you do the first 3 right, you sell into compromise.
Have you ever thought
to compromise?
Do you ever sit down on a whiteboard with your clients and go through this? Like, this is what we agree on, this is what we disagree on, and this is what we can do to kind of solve it?
Well, sure. Okay. It doesn't happen so much that way. While the deal is happening, you're on the phone with somebody. You're typically not with them. I sell shopping centers and office buildings. So you say to someone, hey, listen, this is what I think we should do. And I think this is where the compromise is. But I think that these skills I learned in my career sitting at the table, sitting at the closing table. One side screaming at the other side. Now I'm the commercial real estate broker. I'm judge and jury. I'm the guy that's going to smooth everything over. Ron, fix this. That's it. You get Andrew. Fix this. You started this. You're the broker. Fix this. Finish this. Fair enough. Let's talk about why we're all here. Guys, listen, we've been in this deal for months. Negotiated the contract. We've been back and forth. Yeah, push people back a little bit. You want to sell, you want to buy. Well, be saying that in front of him. No, we're going to say it. It's obvious. Now let's talk about the roof. Let's talk about what the industry standards are. Let's talk about other roofs in the neighborhood. Yours is 10 years old. Nobody promised you a brand new roof. So in shopping centers and office buildings, a lot of time, the roofs are very expensive. And then we figure out a reasonable compromise. It doesn't hurt to throw a little personality in there so people aren't, ripping each other's throats out. It's not personal. It's a roof. Neither one of us have been up on it. Or, let's just say everybody's been on them. Neither one of us knows that much about roofs. We just don't want a big expense. And
that's one thing that I see that I actually just saw. So my gym, my personal home gym, is moving. And there's a Shopko is like essentially a Midwest Walmart, but they went out of business. And so they had a ton of open centers. And one of the guys who owned the local Shopko, the gym owner, was trying to move there. And it got super, super personal and things kind of started, people were butting heads. And so what ended up happening is the owner of the Shopko that was going to rent just said, you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to tear it down. And so now there's no more Shopko building. And so no one wins.
Right.
He just gets a loss.
That's right. Sales skills are success skills. And these skills that you'll learn in my book, Power Broker, How to Be Successful in Business and Life, are a lot of skills on how to deal with people. I believe that 85% of dealing with that man who owns it is to make sure he doesn't get upset, to make sure he feels heard, which, you asked me my top sales tips. I want to fundamentally recommend a book by the name of Never Split the Difference. It's by Christopher Voss. It's a great book. And really the big takeaway is active listening. As a young salesman being dyslexic, I wasn't a great listener, and it definitely hurt me. I thought it was all about sell, 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 sell. Do it now. Here we go. It is not about that. Active listening changed me as a person, as a dad, as everything. If you have a girlfriend or a wife or significant other, she wants to be heard, Andrew. Yeah. I love the nod. I love that nod.
Yeah. Listening is one of the best things ever. I literally had a deal yesterday where I sat on the phone with a guy. I just listened to him for a half hour. At the end, I'm like, well, I mean, we could solve this for you. It'd be this much. And he's like, where do I send the check? That's basically all I said.
Where do I send the check? It sounds like you did your job. That sounds like a buy signal.
Exactly. I think that's one of the most underrated things in sales is just shut up and listen. That's all. That's
it. So let's break it down, because what had happened was that I read Never Split the Difference, and I said to my brother, who's an attorney, this listening thing really seems powerful. And he said, Ron, you don't listen. I was like, he's my older brother. And I was like, really? That is a little hurtful. And he said, get past the hurt. Here's what I want you to do for 30 days. Someone is talking to you. I want you to put away your distractions. Put away your cell phone. He goes, so I'm talking to you, my cell phone's put away. Can't scroll. Rule number one, my brother says to me, you can't scroll. Rule number two is you got to focus on the speaker, which is basically the same thing. Okay, put your phone away, no distractions. You got to focus on the speaker. Rule number three, this one seems obvious, but I think I struggled with it. You can't interrupt them. I think listeners are out there being like, that's rude. You shouldn't interrupt. You'd be surprised. And the fourth thing my brother said to me that day was, you got to reflect back what you've heard. So if you say to me, you've just let a man speak for a half hour and he spoke himself into, buying your product, then you're going to feel heard because I heard you. And if it's your girlfriend that says, Andrew, I don't feel connected to you, I think we should spend time over the Thanksgiving weekend, you say, hey, Brittany, whatever her name is, you say, I don't feel connected. If you don't feel connected to me, I want to connect with you. I want you to be happy. I want to spend time with you over the Thanksgiving weekend. And that is an emotional bond. Listening is amazing, but it's very difficult. And that's the active part. So what's the active part? Because we have 2 ears, and you think that listening should be not active, but, just happen. The bottom line is it's asking questions. It's showing that you've heard. It's not interrupting. Listening is really a sales skill.
What is your opinion on this as well? I've always heard that sales is a relationship game. All it is building relationships. And that kind of ties into the active listening because you need to listen to the other person to build that relationship. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes. Tell me about your relationship with your girlfriend, your relationship with your mom. Tell me about your relationship with your dad. Tell me about your relationship with your best friend. Do you agree that relationship to me, and again, life skills, sales skills, all in the same thing. Relationship building is trust. How do you build trust?
You become their friend.
How do you become someone's friend? Do all the talking? I don't want to talk to that guy.
You listen, yeah. That's almost the phrase people buy from people they like, know, and trust, right? So all that is breaking down what a friend is, which is one of the funniest things ever. Like people fundamentally buy from people, they don't buy the product. And so you have to allow them to understand you as a person. And that's what becoming a friend is.
I think that everybody fundamentally understands that, Andrew. I think that if you took, 2 products, handed it to 2 different people, somebody who likes them, someone who doesn't like them, they're going to buy from the person they like. But I think the big breakdown, what I want to say to anyone who's listening is this is a self-help world, and that it's incumbent upon you to learn the things that aren't being taught in schools. I have in my book, again, Power Broker, 9 skills I think that should be taught instead of trigonometry, the study of angles. I've personally never studied. I have since high school. I haven't studied an angle. However, I think resilience is one of the greatest skills that people need in business and in life, because I don't know anybody that hasn't had a setback. How do you get over setbacks? Well, we should teach a class in that. Emotional regulation, so you can bounce back. I love the nod. The nod is really helping me, Andrew. Yes. So in my book, we talk about resilience. We talk about emotional regulation. We talk about building trust through relationship building. Critical thinking. Critical thinking, I think, if there's one class I wish I could have taught, which wasn't offered in my high school here in Long Island, New York, that is the debate club. If I had to go back, I would take the debate club. Debate's the best. Forces you to public speak, forces you to think on your feet, forces you to think quickly, and it forces you to take either side of the argument and learn how to debate it. Because business, I've never seen anybody hit somebody over the head with a baseball bat and said, you see, I won that argument. No, that person's not buying from you. No, the reason why they're going to buy from you is because they like and they trust you and they trust the product. So let's get these skills.
I like it. I wanted to circle back on decisions as well, because I think it was Alex Hormozy said something along the lines of the heaviest things in the world aren't iron or gold. They're unmade decisions. What are your opinions on decisions?
Sure. I think Alex Hormozy, from what I've seen, is just a really, really brilliant guy. And he's a rock star and a real successful guy. And I agree with that. And my feeling on that is, well, there's 2 things I want to say about making decisions, okay? The first thing is for anyone that's listening and anyone that's selling any product, I want to start to introduce you to sales skills. What do you mean? I'm going to drop a nugget. Drop a nugget. I'm saying to you is this. How many times do you think, Andrew, you have to ask someone to buy a product before they buy it? Typically, what are the statistics?
I'm going to guess low ticket. So we'll say less than 1,000. I'll say like
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry. How many times? No, how many follow-ups? My bad.
How many follow-ups?
I understand.
Okay.
How many follow-ups? You want to sell somebody? Listen, I just want to let you know, I'm a CPA. I've got some great services, different than all the other CPAs, the doctors, the lawyers, my podcasting company, anything, any business. How many times do you think you have to ask statistically for someone to say yes?
5.
Good. Very good. Okay. 48% of people ask once and never ask again. Okay. Up to 90% basically ask the first 1, 2, or 3 times. Nobody asks a 4th time. For the most part, it's under 10%. 80% of sales happen after the 4th ask. Between the 4th and the 12th ask for all products. So the first thing, when someone says no, anyone listening, say, great, good thing I got 11 more shots, or I got to take 11 more shots. I mean, I've been on a lot of podcasts. Recently, a woman, she said to me, Ron, I don't know anything about selling. All I was taught is to be nice. She said to me, I just asked this man who really needs my services if he wants to do it. And he said, let me think about it. She literally said to me, when should I call back? I said, wait 2 or 3 days and call back. And then she said, what do I do after that? Wait another 2, 3 days and call back until you've asked 12 times. If he doesn't want your services after 12 times, keep moving. That's a nugget right there, because I think people say, hey, listen, I asked. They didn't want to buy. Well, let me in a little pro tip. You got to keep asking. That's where. I don't know why it's human nature to say no, but regardless, now that you know the statistics, go ask. Let's get successful.
Real estate agents, are you tired of chasing leads? If you're struggling to find quality sellers or feel like marketing takes up too much time, DMR Media can help. We specialize in getting real estate agents high quality leads, ready to buy leads through SEO and pay per lead approach. That means basically no upfront cost and 0 risk. You pay when we deliver results. Imagine a steady flow of clients finding you on Google while you focus on closing deals. We've done it for agents like Cade Covey, who earned an extra $80,000 in just 3 months with our system. Take back your time and get results. Visit dmrmedia.org to learn more about how we can make your marketing work for you.
I think the other one that's really, really good is, instead of trying to ask someone to buy up front, give them value, because then they start the trusting process, right? They start to trust you. And so that does 2 things in this instance. You can count it almost. Oh, I got balloons. You can count it as like
Me
an
too.
app.
I got yellow and red and purple. Do that again.
I have no idea how I did it. Is it something like this?
Oh, okay.
I know I can do the thumbs up one.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is you can provide value up front. And then what ends up happening is they almost ask you initially. You get a first ask of like, what else can you help me with? And so that counts as your first ask. And you can just keep doing that, keep providing value until eventually they're like, oh, yeah, like I'm down. And so
I think.
Go ahead.
Please. No, I love it.
I think a lot of people skip the step of provide value first. Like, there's one guy, I'm going to say his name, but he's at the local university and he's trying to start a AI business. But he's trying to charge upfront right away before he provides value. And I'm like, dude, you have basically no costs. Just provide a trial. Like, is that something? He's like, but I'm going to lose money. And it's like, what's the worst that happens? They try it twice. They don't like it. You lost nothing.
I got to tell you, man, there's one guy that really stands out to me. There was a guy by the name of Justin Bieber. You never probably heard of Justin Bieber because, he hasn't had any success. I remember he was like a little kid. He was like 12 years old, 13 years old. And his thing was, put me in front of an audience. I'll play for free. I'll play for free. He played for free. And you know what? After a while, people started to pay him because they liked what he had. Me, I'll play for free. I will do everything for free. I'll be on this podcast and 1,000 others like that, because eventually somebody is going to say, hey, you know what? I like what this guy has. So that AI, of course, I couldn't agree with you more, Andrew. Give it away. Once you get people, and it's a good product, like Justin Bieber, hopefully my book, I want to talk about it all day long for free, as much as I can. So I wholeheartedly tell everybody to give a free taste of it.
That's also kind of the idea of social media, if I'm wrong. Provide value. That's all it is.
Constantly provide value.
One of the other things I wanted to ask you is I was on your Instagram, and you're pretty jacked. I'll put it that way. What has that done for you in your real estate career?
I started lifting weights in high school. It's something I just love doing. I did it through college, and I did it through all of life. I cannot encourage people enough to really take good care of their body, to work out. It's mentally, it's such a release. These endorphins are so critically important. I hide the fact that underneath here, yes, I'm jacked. Absolutely. You will find me at age 60 to be whatever, a gym person. I think that I'm always wearing jackets and sweaters and everything. And it's never really said. It is so critically important. I believe part of success is very, very much getting rid of the negativity. There's going to be a lot of negativity in business. This is a competition between you and your competitors, and their job is to make it hard, and they will. And your job is to be successful, and you will. One of the things I think that I read, I read a book called Shoe Dog. I'm going to just keep dropping books because that's where I listen to them. I listened to Shoe Dog. It was about Phil Knight. And Phil Knight was a runner. And one of the things I really admired about Phil Knight was every night he went for an hour run. Cleared his mind, cleared his soul. He was battling the world to make Nike a brand, but every day he went for an hour run. And then when he came back from his hour run, he used to talk to his dad about business. Dad, what am I going to do? Dad, what am I going to do about this? But it wasn't until after the run. Got to give your body the workout. There must be a physical component. If you just want to walk, go walk. You got to have a physical component. To me, it's been a game changer. I'd highly recommend the physical component, running, walking, lifting weights, to everybody.
I think it's one of the best things ever, because one of the things for me is I'm big in real estate SEO, and part of that is writing long blogs. So the trick for me that I found personally is wake up in the morning early, like 5:30, write a blog, go to the gym after that. Because what it allows me to do is it gives me an hour, hour and a half, recharge, think, prepare for the day, and I know what's coming. Like I'm ready to go. It's basically a hack to prepare what you need.
Everyone needs a hack.
When do you usually go to the gym?
Here's my hack. Here's my hack. Here's my hack. You want the nuggets? You want the gold? You want the keys to the kingdom? Here it is. I get up and I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym at 7 a.m. Most days. Well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Besides that, I'm walking and doing other things. So from 7 a.m. until 8 a.m., I'm in the gym, hit the shower. From 9 to 11 every day, I make my outreaches. I call them my sales calls. I call them my warm calls. I have a list of every single day of 20 to 25 people I need to touch base with. Find out what's new, what's next, and how I'm going to help. 25 people every day. I touch people 3 to 4 times a year. And if I don't make those calls, my business will dry up. Do I want to make those cold calls, warm calls? Nah. It's a lot easier when I go to the gym and I do it first thing in the morning.
The first part of your morning, I feel like for everyone, is whatever their most important task is. And if that's your most important task, that's perfect.
It is. It is my first and most important task, is to get to the gym and then prospect. After 11 o'clock, and sometimes 11:30, I get some calls going on there. They're warm. People know me. A lot of people want to, after 30 years, they want to take my call. Hey, can I ask you a question, Ron? That one that you sold down the street from my building, can you tell me what that was, price per square foot? I'd like to better understand what my building is worth. Of course. That's what I'm here for. Yeah.
I was talking to Brian Wellen. He's in New York, downtown. I think he's Manhattan. Mm-hmm. He's a newer broker. And his biggest trick with cold calling is, did you by any chance see so-and-so closed? Are you curious about how that's going to affect your building? Because it's that free value again. And it's starting off on that. No, like people are coming to you because they see you as the authority. Like they know what's going on. They're curious. And most people are going to be curious there anyways. So I love that. Like, how is that going to affect me?
Well, that's the 15%, Andrew. You got to really know 15%, 85% is they might like me. I might listen to them, but I have to say to them, listen, I know down the street from your building, Andrew, a building, you paid $100 a square foot. I know you paid $1 million. That I just sold one, or I saw one that was sold at $200 a square foot. That means your building is now worth $2 million. Right? Are you kidding me? Wait a minute. What? Wait, whoa. Go back to the part about my building being worth double what I paid for it. Go back to that part about there was a comp at $2 million. Go back to that part of the profits for me. So yes, you have to know your business. It's not just, there's 15% of the business you really have to know. But anyway, let's talk about some other things. Listen, I want to talk about the science of communication, because there is a science here. And I want everyone out there listening to fully understand this, because the science of communication is decaying. They did a study, and 55% of all communication is one way, 38% is another way, and 7%, the remainder, is the last way. The 7%, the smallest part, is the message. Now, the only thing you can get through on your thumbs by texting or emailing is the message. 55% is facial expression and body movement. 38% is tonality, how you say something. So the way to really get things confused is to text it or email it. You want something successful? You show up in person. If it's important, you want to ask that girl or anybody else to marry you, do it in person. I don't know anybody that hasn't done that. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody that hasn't done it via text yet. Average American sends 54 texts a day. Average American under 24 sends 108 texts per day. Texting is a great way to get misunderstood. If it's important, pick up the phone, make a Zoom call, go see them. If it's important and you want them to say yes, know the science. 55% of your ability to say yes will be in person. 38% will be just by your tone of voice through a phone. 7% through that text message that you sent. So be careful. Be careful with text messages if you want to be successful.
Are you familiar with what a Loom video is? LOOM?
No.
Okay, look that up. So Loom videos are essentially a recorder for your screen, and it has like a little circle in the bottom where it shows your face, and so you can essentially hear. You can just record videos. I cannot tell you how many clients I have. I will send a weekly Loom video to update them, and they go, "This is so much better than email. I understand it." Like,
what's the difference between an email? Explain to me, just so I know, because I don't know Loom. What's the difference between a Loom video and an email?
So a Loom video is like a physical screen. It records my screen, and then it's me talking. So it's a video of me, like almost like a mini podcast for the clients. And
so they get a tonality.
Exactly. And so just adding different layers of communication on there is so important. I have 3 that in the last week have been send more. Like, I won't read the email anymore. I'll just watch the Loom video because I get so much more out of it. And so that ability to communicate more and communicate better, it's a game changer.
Game changer. Game changer. But let's talk about the future of sales. 76% of Gen Z born between 1990 and 2010 report phone anxiety. 76% report phone anxiety if they have to make an outgoing phone call. So the future needs to be altered. We can't get this behind the screen thing if you want to be successful. I mean, you can. It's fine. If you have enough money and you're Jeff Bezos' son, daughter, you don't have to do this. Don't. But if you want to be successful and you want to have people say yes to you, you have to get out in front and use the science of communication like you do with your Loom, because that'll change an email, give you, instead of 7% just the words, the other 38% through the tonality. How cool is that? You want to rock it? Show up in person. You get the other 55%. Everyone says yes.
People are shocked when you show up in person. I used to do that when I was a lot more local. I just show up at real estate brokerages and I'd be like, "Hey man, is like the owner here?" And people are like, "I'm sorry, you're not a client? What's going on?" Just people are shocked.
That's right. Right.
Even cold calls. People are like, "You actually cold call?" No one does that anymore.
That's right.
If people are anxious about making that first phone call, doing that first cold outbound, what would you say to those people?
Well, I would say, just so you know, I was that person. I remember asking other people. I know people that did it in closets. I know people that have done it on their cell phone. I know people that have done it and hung up. I know people that have called each other. I know people that anything that you need to do to simplify it, to practice. I don't care if it takes 5 days of practice with, you and I, Andrew, going back and forth. On the 5th day, you make one, you try to make more, keep going, and the fear will subside. But it's practice. I don't know that the mind knows any different between practicing in real life with Andrew or with Mr. Jones on the other side of the phone. I would say practice. Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. How many cold calls do you make a day? I know you said you do 20 outbound, but is that warm? Is that cold?
Interesting. Sure. So I stay in touch with approximately 1,200 business owners. I'm sorry, property owners. Some of those property owners are one property owner. Some of them are 10 property owners. In an area of the marketplace between 1 and 10 million, I want to be the go-to guy. Why don't I want them below $1 million? You can make more money with the bigger ones. Why don't I want them bigger than 10 million? A lot of publicly traded companies, like Coke or Federal Express, does business with other publicly traded companies. And sometimes I'll miss out owning my own firm for 23 years on the huge deals. It's okay. I'll make it up on a lot of 1 to 10 million. So in that area of the marketplace, I want to be the go-to guy. I feel like I'm the go-to guy. So when I reach out to people, they're getting a lot of calls from other people too. So my name over 30 years is synonymous with commercial real estate. Doesn't mean that that person is going to be pumped to hear from me. Let's go with the fact that they're not that warm. 75% of the time, people are going, oh, wow, great. Ron Koenigsberg's calling me up to see if I want to sell a property or buy a property. They're not that pumped. That's why I do it first thing in the morning between 9 and 11. I'll tell you one thing. If I stop doing it, though, there's no chance that I'll be broker of the year in my market.
Yeah, you almost need to do cold. Have you ever thought about doing it just before 9 a.m.? I know that works really, really well for me. Just because people are on their way to work, they're open to calling while they're in the car.
Yes, I call people's cell phones. I call them different hours. I don't want to just do it. Nike, like the Nike commercial, just do it. Someone says to me, I like to do it at night. Do it at night. As long as you make your calls. And as long as you make it a habit, because like you said, it's not the most fun thing ever, but I believe it's hugely profitable. And I want people to hear my voice.
I agree. 100%. I think it's one of the most profitable things in business, just making the cold outreach.
All right, here's one more. You ready for another nugget?
Let's go.
You're 29% smarter when you're in a good mood. When you're angry, it's hard to think clearly. It clouds your judgment. Positive thinking in business and in life is a huge change, game changer. How do you become positive thinking? Practice, just like anything else, just like playing the guitar. No, I can't play the guitar or the piano.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. That does make sense, though. It makes a lot of sense.
Teamwork's about communication. If we're communicating well, if I'm being heard and you feel you're heard with your girlfriend, with your boss, with anyone, teamwork is working well. It's about communication. Wide receiver doesn't hear the quarterback. He thinks it's an in route when it's an out route. And all of a sudden, you see the football going in the other direction for a pick six. Communication sucks.
I love it.
Or it could be great.
I'll tell you what, I don't have anything else for you. So where do you want to send people?
No question about it. Please, there's my name, Ron Koenigsberg. Take a look at my landing page, ronkoenigsberg.com. I give away as much free information as humanly possible. Amazon, Power Broker, how to be successful in business and life. Have any questions on my landing page, Ron at aiprops.com. The bottom line is this. I'm a successful real estate broker. I feel so happy. And I love teaching sales.